How are you doing, guys, and welcome back to the One Shot Show. I am Ty, and this is my co-host Josh.
Hello, today we're going to do a mini review sort of thing of our takeaways from the last major. There's quite a few because FaZe didn't win it for once, which makes no sense. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's coming up.
Spoilers. But
Hopefully, you've watched the major if you're watching this video.
if you haven't, still watch anyway, because fuck it. Alright,
Yeah.
the first topic that we have to get into is the most surprising of the whole thing. Thieves, LA Thieves weren't dog shit.
Yeah, actually, when you put it like that, that is the most surprising thing to come from this event.
Not even the winner, alright? Not even the winner. Just
No.
LA Thieves weren't absolutely terrible.
Well, they made it past the first elim round one, so they surprised everyone.
Yeah, ruined everyone's pick'ems. Somehow playing Fluid Card got them top 6 against the best teams in the world.
Maybe it's the new wave. I think they might be onto something.
Kenny Main AR forever. I was wrong.
I mean, he's got to stop YYing. He's got to. He gets a kill and it's just why.
YY for days, never give it up. Old habits die hard.
You're not wrong.
I just don't know if it was a honeymoon phase thing or what, but they just
I
looked really
think
good.
I think having vibes is probably the most important thing on a team for online card at least, because if you're looking forward to getting on and playing every day and you're not afraid to make mistakes and afraid to make plays, then that's going to win you games. And so does S&D, and they look good in S&D. So
Or Slasher. I defended him, and then they went and placed top 6. There's not much defense I can give now.
I don't think it was. It's Slash's play style. I don't think it was that. I think it was internal things that we don't know about. Because you can't argue with the stats and how. If you watch them, yeah, they all played awfully, but you don't watch them and go Slash is costing.
Yeah. But yeah, they look really good until they played, was it Toronto?
Yeah,
Who, surprise,
made
surprise, made everybody look silly.
honestly, I think they lost map 1 like 3 times in this major, and then won the next 3.
We'll get to that. It was quite impressive. Anyway, from Thieves overperforming, we have something that made me so happy. I mean, I'm unbiased. Optic screwed it up. They underperformed from what everyone, I think, expected. I think everyone expected them to get back to top 4. And they didn't even make top... Did they get top 6 just?
I think,
They
yeah, I
got
think
top
they
8
came
or top
fifth.
6. I think they
I
got
think they
5th,
came
6th
fifth.
with Thieves, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They, I feel slightly bad for them, but at the same time, it made me smile, despite the fact that I also don't like Rocker. They got the unluckiest, but also most incredible 1v3 against them in a round 11. If you haven't seen it, just go on Twitter and type in like 1v3 and it'll probably come up with it because everyone went mental.
As a Rocker fan, I saw Attach get killed in Eskies, and my life crumbled before my eyes. I was like, he's the Iceman, but 1 versus 3 against Optic Chicago, you don't clutch those ever. And the stars and the players aligned, and just watch it. It's honestly the craziest 1v3 I've ever seen.
It went from Ty sitting there, all concerned. His team's about to go out too. I never doubted him. Axis beast.
Iceman. I genuinely, I went crazy.
It was
A highlight of the year for me.
That had to be the second best. It was the most watched series of the whole tournament. So how anyone missed it, I do not know. It was for me the second best tournament match of the tournament.
Yeah, I agree.
But it was insane. Like what top 5 match we've had all year. The amount of shit that happened in it.
Honestly, I don't know what it is about Rocker, but we like making it hard for ourselves. It's always game 5, round 11s.
We're not going to complain because it's giving us a reason to watch. Because some matches, you just sit and you watch, and you see like London get 3-0'd, and it's like, oh, or like Paris, this
Hmm.
tournament got 3-0'd, and it's like, then you see Rocker on, and you just know it's going game 5, round 11 for no
It's
reason at all.
honestly the only game it wasn't round game 5 was Toronto, and
Yeah.
I mean they just whitewashed everyone this tournament, so it's irrelevant. But
Yeah.
on like,
But back to the point of Optic,
yeah, sorry.
because obviously that match, the Optic Rocker match was huge. Optic underperformed massively, but then you say it, they did lose in round 1 to eventual winners.
Hmm.
They got a win over a good Seattle roster currently, 3-1, quite convincing, and then
On
they
the
lose
rise as well.
round 11 to you guys. So you, it feels a bit harsh to say they underperformed, but they should be placing top 4. Like they shouldn't
And
be losing to you there. They shouldn't have lost round 1 to Ultra. Like realistically, you look at the two rosters, Optics should be beating them.
yeah, but
Yeah.
the reason I like it is harsh to say they're underperforming. I agree, but at the same time, Optic have consistently been at the top, well, one of the top teams in the game, bar World War II, since
Yeah.
the forming of Optic. And
And you say Optic, you expect top 4, grand final finishes,
hmm
constantly making it to the championship Sunday, and they didn't make it.
it's hard to watch, seeing their fundamentals be so poor.
Yeah.
For Scump and Formal, two of the most experienced players in the league, to
They
watch
need to fix
them.
something.
Some
But
I don't think they need a change, but they need to fix something in their gameplay. They need to change their style of play or approach or their vetoes or something.
yeah. But we can be thankful that they didn't get top 4 because it means that we got to have Optic not win and their fanboys not be there on the Sunday to run the chat. I mean, what? Right. Anyway, the next thing, Rocker did maintain their form to a degree.
Hey, we lost against Dallas.
You
We
did
did.
get top 4 though.
I Not only are we consistent, well, consist better now than we were. We win respawns and not S&D, which makes no sense. Makes no sense.
The
But
fact that
also,
you lost both SDs to Dallas,
hmm
despite being like you and FaZe single handedly have given them like 9 losses between you.
yeah,
Right. You lose both to Dallas. You lose I think you lost one to Optic.
yeah,
Right. You lost it to Toronto.
hmm
And it's like this is meant to be your strongest game mode. But now you win hard points. Because somehow you won both against Dallas. You won one against Optic and you won one against Ultra, which is more than you would have done a month ago.
I think it's got to be a pacing issue. Well, not issue, but it's got to be our pace. That we play it so much. We take the game to people now. We don't wait for them,
Yeah.
which I think was the biggest problem with Priest on the sub, is that we just weren't fast enough.
I do really. It is nice to see Rocker doing well, and they did have our match of the tournament. It
Oh,
was Dallas versus Rocker. Didn't we have? Was it 2 round 11s in both searches?
yeah.
The hard puts
It,
were close. The
it was
control. There was a 0.1 second clutch by Dallas when they were down 7-5 or 7-3 or something ridiculous on lives. It's just shithousery at its finest.
it's literally the best series of COD I've ever watched in my entire life. I think the game that wasn't close, like all of them were close. One of them was 250 to 170 something. That was the first hard point. Apart from that, it was 6-5 search, 3-2 control, 6-5 search, and 250 to 200 and something.
Yeah.
Like those two when
But
they
even the
play.
250, 170, it wasn't like it was a blowout. It was you guys beat Dallas at that, right?
Hmm.
But like kills wise, everything was like basically even across the board. It was just your guys' fundamentals, so it was just an absolute slugfest and contest fest because the first one was checkmate, right? And like the clock was
Yeah.
down to like a minute 40. Like there was like 40 seconds to a minute left by the end of the game.
It,
Like
it was only 250 to 170 because of the last two hills. Up
yeah,
until that point, anyone could have won. At one point, I thought Dallas was going to win. Like
it was.
those two, when they play, they have the most entertaining two teams to watch when they play against one another in the league. There is no
They are so
changing my
evenly
mind.
matched. Yeah. Well, that's two best of fives right in a row. I believe, or was
Hmm.
it 3-1 in the league?
No, it was 3-2 last time we played.
Yeah.
It was
So
3-0 the first time,
it'll be
and
fun
since
to
then
keep
it's been
watching
3-2, 3-2.
that rivalry go
Because it's
keep
our
continuing.
rivalry.
It's
It's
ours
our
as well,
rivalry
so it makes
and
it even
theirs.
better.
It's fantastic. I'm loving it.
But speaking of Dallas, they did fall short. We expected them to make it to the final. It's a bit harsh to say they fell short. Sorry, they did place top three again. They haven't placed out top four ever since we franchised.
That's
So
crazy.
top three is still performing really well. But the fact they lost a phase again, but they got an S&D this time, so it's not as bad.
Hmm.
But the fact they didn't make the final is Dallas. You sort of like at the moment we expect it to be phase Dallas. I think every event when you
Yeah,
look at like
on
two
paper.
favorites on paper, and they just didn't make it. And it's like, oh, they fell
I
short
think
again.
I the thing is with Dallas is that it's a compliment to them that we're saying they fell short when they came top
Yeah,
three. Like,
it's not a dig. It's
and
like
they also, like, in my opinion, they didn't play particularly well. They didn't play badly, but they didn't play like Dallas, and they came top three,
yeah,
which is not what you
you
want to
can
be
see
seeing from
when
if you're another team.
Krim has, I believe he still has the highest average damage across the whole of the team. When Krim is
Yeah, I
doing
think so.
the most on the map, it's scary to think top three and the other three aren't even at like their peak.
I think
There's
like
so much room for improvement there, but they need to improve because at the moment they fell short again. They didn't even make it to the final. Last time it wasn't close against FaZe. They've got to close the gap because otherwise, well, until Toronto made this god run, we thought FaZe were untouchable.
I think once Illy hits his like Illy form, you guys are going to be ridiculously scared. I'm not saying he's been playing bad at all, but we all
He
know that
just
he can do
hasn't
better.
been what he was last year at
Yeah,
Challenge. Yeah, it's more of a compliment than a dig at Dallas, unlike
yeah,
the Optic
yeah.
one. Well, Optic, it was us going, yeah, you're Optic, get top four, right? Shit. But the Dallas one, it's like your roster is so good, and like you only place in these top threes, top fours. How did you not make the final? Same for me with Rocker a bit. How did you guys not get top three?
I mean, we lost to the eventual winners, both of us. So
Yes, we can't complain.
no one, 0.2% of people that did pick'ems
Pick
predicted
Toronto to win.
Toronto to win, and out of those, that is 9 people
Yes.
out of
Let's get on.
everyone.
Let's get onto that though because it was
Yes,
insane. Oh my god. Toronto Ultra versus FaZe. Who's winning it? Who's winning? Everyone's sat there like, oh, it's gonna be fucking pissed. It's gonna be like 5-1. Toronto might get a search because FaZe for some reason are terrible at search now. I think they won one all event. Your FaZe. Anyway, we're all sat there. We're like, oh, it's gonna be a boring final. Toronto came with the smoke.
they are the Benjamin Battens needs the biggest shout out. I was throughout the whole stage. I was like, Pristini's most improved out of everyone. Pristini's most improved, and then Bance goes, say less, and just turns into like
He turned into Black Ops 3
2015 Bance.
Vance. Yeah.
It's crazy. I've never seen someone have such a poor stage and then come to the major and play that well. It was unbelievable.
And
Like,
his search as well. Like his search throughout the whole year has been. Normally, Bance is a good S&D player for anyone that doesn't know. Like Bance, being European, Europeans tend to be very good at S&D.
yeah,
He's always been a very solid S&D player, but he's been dropping like donuts, going like 2-10 or 2-8 and under 4. He went 10-0 against FaZe.
a flawless
The
search
second
against
second
FaZe,
flawless in the year, by the way. Second flawless. Only TJ's had one.
but against FaZe in a grand final. Like, TJ did it at the start of Stage 1.
Yeah.
This is in the most important games of the year so far against the team that everyone said was unbeatable.
So do you know my favorite stat from the final as well, right? So if you
Hit
told
me.
me, so S&D control back to back, right? If you
Hmm.
told me that would be a 9-0 victory in favor of Toronto, I would have told you to check in with a mental hospital. And then if you told me Bant would also go 10-0 in the S&D and have less deaths than, well, the same deaths as FaZe had rounds, I would have also told you to go to a mental hospital. My man goes 10-0. They 6-0'd them on Express. Wasn't close. They play
Nope.
raid control. It's 3-0. Wasn't close. And then they go into the next map. It's 250 to like 150. Wasn't close. What did
I don't,
FaZe do?
the fact that FaZe did not veto raid control, I think that FaZe have a huge ego problem, and they've only had that reality check. Losing to LAG wasn't enough. Like, to
Yeah,
play,
you could tell they seem to take some teams like you look at Dallas, they want to overperform and then they ruin Dallas. You get other teams like your LAG in Toronto and they're just sat there. I think they're taking them as a joke.
mm-hmm, they don't, like, even if it's not consciously, like,
Yeah,
which it might well be. We don't know. I don't know the FaZe guys at all, but there was just something about the way they picked the maps and the way they played. Like, in that Express S&D, you don't get 6-0'd in the grand final when you're FaZe. You don't,
no,
like,
it should have
you've
ended sooner too
yeah,
because
they got
Kleenex
lucky.
fucked it.
Kleenex literally threw, in a sense.
Yeah,
He
he gave
obviously
them a
didn't, but
lifeline.
he literally was like, "Here, have this map."
Yeah,
So FaZe need to sort their vetoes out. They need to They need to go back and actually try and figure out. Like, obviously, look, FaZe are FaZe. They're still the best team in the game. No one, like,
they're gonna come
that's not
back
what we're
swimming.
saying.
They just
They
need
they
to when they're playing certain teams, they've got to not be take. They've got to take everyone more serious. It feels like because at
when
the
they
moment I
last
feel like
played.
they only take Dallas serious. So
Yeah, you're not wrong. When they last played them, they it wasn't close. They smoked them the last time Ultra and FaZe played. So they just came in with a mentality that it'll be the same again.
yeah,
But you got to remember, Ultra had just beaten Rocker and then Dallas
yeah,
convincingly as well. It wasn't like they got lucky. It wasn't like they didn't deserve to win. They deserved to beat both teams, and they deserved to beat FaZe.
they did
They
in the
just
same fashion as well. Both games lost the hard point, won the series. Lost the hard point, won the series. Against FaZe, they lost the first fucking hard point, won the series. They lost the first hard point. Me and my mate were like, Toronto's won it.
it's not literally. It's I've never seen anything like it. But shout out to Ultra and also Kleenex. That raid control. If
We
I
can
played
big
against
up
him,
Kleenex. Shout out to the European GOAT, Bance. You're the only guy, I believe, to have two major titles from Europe in America because I think we've only done it twice, and I think it was him both times.
yes, he was. Yeah, he was that Spice team.
Yes.
Yeah,
And a second at Champs, where MV, or Dallas for newer people, slapped them.
here we go again.
Proud history. Anyway, there's our takeaways from the event. If you haven't seen some of the matches, you've got to go watch
Oh,
them.
you have to.
We will make a list of our top 5, I think, and do a video on top 5 must watch from the whole of the season so far because there's
With a
been some
small little recap
bangers.
yeah, but with no spoilers because you need if you have the time, just watch some of these matches. It is
Yeah.
incredible.
And it's official. I did lose Prediction Wars. We will
Oh,
later this week. There will be a forfeit video, or early next week, depending on uh, scheduling.
hmm
But the forfeit will be happening. I have to do it. Ty is king. All hail Ty.
Oh hell, Tyloon the noob. I should rename myself Tyloon the goat.
I will bounce back in season 3. I'm gonna go harder. I did a phase. I just didn't take my competition serious.
Underestimated me, and now look.
I will be drinking hot sauce. Anyway, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you want more from us, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment below your favourite things from the event, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.